Do not attempt to adjust your speakers. The sounds that you're about to hear are various sounds that come from a human's mouth. So this is what we came with.
Lighting, and then you see it's like a full, like massive, like car-sized halo light.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
The lighting in there looks crazy. The car looks so cool. Even
you can see
everything. It could be his Elantra, but it looks so cool.
You see from far away, you're like, that car's got a zit on it. Like that's like what it looks like. It's nuts.
I've seen pictures of it. It looks cool.
Xavier got some lights, like neon strip light around his room, like just because he's like, oh, I want this, and he paid some money for it, and there's a sound sense setting on it, and he's like, well, look at this, Joey, and I'm like, I'm surprised, even though I deal with it all the time, but he's just like, look at this, and he goes, but there's only one thing, if I shut the music off, I guess it has like a memory, so it just keeps going. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I'm like, it sounds funny and doesn't make sense. So he's, look at this. And then he goes, and then he's like, oh, it's not doing it. And he's talking, and it's going. He doesn't realize that it's his voice that's setting it off.
Oh, he's like, I think it still hears music.
It still hears music. There's no music anymore. He's talking, and it's just, and
He's like, why won't it shut off?
Exactly. See, or like, oh, it was doing it. Like, oh, it was doing it before.
That's
there it is. And I'm like,
amazing.
It's your voice.
It's like chasing him.
Oh, and then I'm like,
he stops talking. He's like,
and he's like, oh, wow. Well, that makes sense.
Oh,
and I'm like,
so funny.
Sound, your voice is
innocence.
Sound.
He's like, I think my room is haunted.
These lights have a brain of its own.
That's funny.
You should have started the whole series of Xavier. This is AI.
This is it. Yes,
it'll listen to you until it won't listen to you.
This call is coming from inside the house.
Yeah, how much did you spend on this? Like, this is some high quality technology. Exactly. We're rolling.
We're rolling.
Look at this guy.
Hayden's just had enough of us already.
Hayden, I think,
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to For the Record Podcast, episode 13.
13? Heck, I don't know anymore.
Are we 13 or 12?
Unlucky 13.
Nice.
13, episode 13.
Unlucky, yes.
Can we just change the number quick?
13 and a half.
14.
13.5.
13 and a quarter. My name is Ronnie. This is Joey.
That's me.
Timothy. And we have a special guest.
Timothy.
He calls. I don't think he's ever called me just regularly Joey Sims. It's either Joseph Sims,
Timothy.
Josephine, Timothy. Yeah.
So it's just different names.
Interesting.
Lawrie Childs in the building.
Boom, boom.
Whoa.
Nice
Switching up
one.
the last
Different name.
What's going on?
Last name.
Same great Lawrie, though. Same great Lawrie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same old me.
Same old you.
New name.
New last name.
Same person.
Same person.
What's happening?
What's new in your
New year,
world?
new me. That's what should that's like new name, same me.
What's happening in Laurie's world? How's married life?
It's just the exact same, to be honest.
But we were chatting a little bit before this about chatting. We were chatting a little bit briefly before this about the wonders that is being a mom of a young child that doesn't always sleep.
Yeah, no, he's testing my patience this week for sure. He usually is a good sleeper, and then the night before last, decided to get up every 2 hours just because he can. And last night wasn't great, so I'm just hanging on by his thread. Just checking on me. Yeah,
just checking on you.
Mom, you all right? Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. Go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
I love it. I have this really cool idea of what, like, pets that can't speak or babies that can't speak are actually saying. Like, I think that's why they're so popular on social media. You know, those ones that they do voiceovers of like a dog that's running in. Yo, Mom, what's going on?
Yeah.
That's Archie.
Yeah,
He's
literally.
Like, Mom, you sleeping?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, we'll chat later.
Can you come in here?
Yeah, come in here quick. I just got something to show you.
Yeah.
Comes in there, he's crying. Just kidding, can't go back.
Yeah, legit. I wish. Wish it was that easy.
Or like Stewie, Mom, Mommy,
Mom,
mama,
Mom, I'm hungry.
I love it.
Ask your dad.
Yes, exactly. Starting young.
Ryan's out
Ryan's
cold.
fast asleep.
Jeez. Ryan's the kind of guy I feel like you put him anywhere and he can sleep like that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
anywhere. So
And then
fast.
he's also, God love him, but like he's also, I'm up all night. I don't know, it was the other night anyways. Usually Archie's pretty good, but like I'm up once a night, twice a night sometimes. And he'll sleep through the night. No problem. And then he'll wake up and he'll come home from work. And I understand work is tiring and all that sort of stuff. And he's like still on the couch. He's like, I'm just so exhausted. And I'm like, you slept all night, bro. What do you mean?
You had a good 8
I'm
hours
just
sleep.
so exhausted. And I'm like, please don't talk to me. Like I have nothing to say to you.
Yeah.
Please don't talk to me.
I love it.
Yeah.
So today's episode, again, we did this with Danielle too, and you, because you and Danielle couldn't be any different in terms of how you planned your wedding, being in the wedding space, and
Okay.
her wedding was wildly different in what she planned and what she prioritized was different than what you did, and us being there on both sides and seeing both go down, we're like, in my head at least, I was like, yes, this is just individually looking at it. Yes, this is who they are,
Describes
and this is
us
how
as
it's
people.
supposed to be, and it makes so much sense.
Did you tell the people
But-
the story about how you double booked yourself?
No, I did not.
Okay, so I'm going to tell a little story. So we're at another wedding that we're working.
So who is it? Me
It's me, you, Danielle,
and Carson.
Carson was there, yeah, and Jake was there too, I think, videoing. And so we're sitting at the dinner table, and Danielle and I, of all the days in the year, decided to get married on the same day.
Nice.
Right? As you do as wedding vendors, off season, all that sort of stuff.
And also, you're like, hey, I'm going to do it a little later,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's not in the heat of,
Yeah,
August.
you couldn't pay me to get married
know,
this
it was
summer.
November 2nd, so
November
it's off
2nd.
season
Right.
after mid-October.
Yeah, no one's
Exactly.
getting married. Then,
So
right?
we picked the same day, and I was like, oh, I literally haven't heard of anyone else getting married the same day. And so we're chit-chatting at this wedding, and then Danielle says to Ronnie, hey, Ronnie, you're still going to officiate for us, right? And I'm like, because Ronnie obviously is invited to my wedding as a guest. And so I'm like, and the look on Ronnie's face was priceless. If I should have taken a picture, because he forgot. 100%. He 100% forgot that he was supposed to officiate and was like all
In my
gun-ho and like
defense.
bringing his wife, and they were getting dressed up to come to our wedding. And then all of a sudden
Literally.
Danielle's like, hey, are you? And he's like, and that was like a good 10 seconds where he didn't say anything because he was like, what am I
He's
going
trying
to
to
do?
organize what's going to
What am
happen.
I gonna
Yeah,
do?
exactly.
And I was like, what time's
So,
your ceremony, Danielle?
Just
She's like, oh, it's not till
everybody else,
7.
just so everybody else understands. So both weddings getting videographers, DJs, entertainment, photo booth. It's a full thing. So in my head, I've organized everything. Right? Everybody's got people. Everybody's got things.
Everyone's where they're
We're
supposed
good to
be,
go.
except Ronnie.
What I did not know, what I did not remember. So what was Danielle asked me, hey, you got to officiate my wedding. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll do it. No problem at all. In my head, it did not click at the same time that I'm going to have to be at her wedding too and have to go to Danielle's wedding.
Yeah.
And then it just didn't click. So I was like, shit.
Yeah.
And when she asked me, and Lawrie was there, and we're all on the vendor table. She's right there asking me, and I'm like, shit, both of your weddings on the same day. And the only way I was able to make it happen, because her ceremony was at 5 and Danielle's was at 7. And in my head, again, I had the venue wrong too, because Danielle was going back and forth with me about what venue and everything. So I suggested Green Spot because that's where mine and Salome's.
Did you go to the green spot that night?
No.
Oh, thank God.
I did not. But
like,
no, I thought it was a Green Spot initially. So that's where mine and Salome's social was. And I thought, oh, Green Spot's right there. It's like 5 minutes across town. I'll be there. She's like, no, it's in Shiloh. I was like, but still worked out. We were there for her ceremony. We saw her get married and everything. And then 5:45 we took off. Was there for 6:30. Got her married. We were there till 8:30, and then we left. Came back for the party here. And in the end of the day, we didn't eat at either of the weddings, which is great.
You didn't?
Well, they didn't have food at their wedding.
Oh, you should have told me that. I would have got you a plate.
I was like,
I didn't know
I come
that.
back and Ty's like, dude, the food was great. Knowing what we missed.
Ronnie, I didn't know that. I would have saved
It's
you
fine.
food if I had
It's
known
fine.
that.
This is
It's
great.
fine.
That's
No.
so Ty though
Okay.
too.
That is so tight.
Ty,
I'm like,
oh,
he's
man,
like,
the food's
Ty.
great.
dude,
I
the
really
food
missed
was
that.
awesome.
And he probably would've
I'm
ate
like,
3
God damn it,
plates.
Ty, stop it. We picked up McDonald's on the way in. I'm like, great. She's like, She gets told me doesn't care about food most of the. I'm like, I know for a fact the food was good at Laurie's, and I did not.
Well, I've had
them.
lots of compliments on the food. Shout out Shady Lane.
Shady Lane.
Love it.
Shady Lane Tea Room.
Yeah, Shady Lane.
Donna,
Always
no.
good.
Weeb. What's her name? Oh,
That owns it?
lady.
Diane.
Diane. Sorry.
Yeah. Diane and Doug.
Diane and Doug.
Diane.
Yeah, Diane comes through.
Yeah,
all the
their
time.
food was good. I would have saved you a plate if I had known that.
It's just okay.
Poor Salome, she's getting dragged around town in a formal outfit.
For-
It's like,
she
"Here's
did not sign up
McDonald's,
for
my
it.
wife.
So she's the moment I tell. So that day I go home. So this is Saturday wedding in September. I go home and I tell her, "Hey, by the way, I messed up both Danielle and Laurie's
I'm
wedding on the
surprised
same
you're
day."
still married, to be
Because she
honest.
RSVP'd. She RSVP'd Laurie's wedding, and I should have sent Danielle's invite to her too. But I basically RSVP'd Danielle's wedding.
Oh
She
my
RSVP'd
God.
your
I feel
wedding.
bad for her.
And then she thought it said black tie, this, and this. And then she goes, "Cool, I bought a dress for Laurie's wedding. We're good to go." And I was like, "Oh, by the way, we gotta go to Danielle's wedding." She's like, "Do I have to buy another dress?"
No, poor Salome. She's a
So
saint,
she
I
was
tell
like,
ya.
"I deal with whatever it is." What it was
Yeah,
good.
she's got she literally has the patience of a saint to put up with you because that would drive me up the wall.
Dude, so that's what we're going to talk about is what went into your thought process, being a wedding planner and doing this for a living and also planning your own wedding. We wanted to see what all you took and what all sort of advice you give people and how that affected you and your perspective of it, right?
And before you go there too, because we had this conversation a little bit with Danielle, which direction? I guess describe your thought process. Less like, oh, we plan this first, but
Well, let's go to the start of it.
yeah, let's start at the span of it. Like once you got married, which direction did you go? Because I know as someone who also is in weddings, right? You go one of two directions. You go down the what I do want or what I don't want first, right? So you've
Right.
seen so many weddings. How
Yes.
did you organize that? I'm curious.
So let's start with the front. So you get engaged,
Yeah.
and then what is going in your mind?
Okay, well, first of all, Ryan's funny because he's like, Valentine's Day to get engaged is cheesy. Christmas is cheesy to get engaged. Like he has all these like
Yes, yeah.
specifics because he's anyways.
That's right.
So then we ended up working. We were both working last Christmas, and I was like, I even remember driving home and I was like, oh, it'd be cute if we proposed today because it's just the two of us. Like we're pregnant, like blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, but he won't because it's Christmas. It's cheesy, right? And so I get home, and the ring is in the tree, hidden in the tree, and all this sort of stuff. So then I was like, of course, and when you're pregnant, you're super emotional. So I like was ugly crying for like 20 minutes. It wasn't cute. Anyways, so but like Joey said,
I want a video of that. Ryan better have a video of it somewhere.
I don't think he videoed it, but yeah, I'm a very decisive person in general, so I probably had a longer list of like not doing that as opposed to like I want to do that. So I knew you couldn't pay me to get married in the summer. It's too. I'm sweaty. Ryan's sweaty. It just wouldn't be cute. I'm not. I couldn't. Like it's hot. I don't want it.
So you get engaged 2022 December.
2023.
2023
yeah, there's
December.
a quick turnaround.
And then
Yeah.
November. So you're like, okay, first of all, not summer, and then you go November.
Well, and we had to consider too that I was due to have Archie in May.
yeah,
So then it's like a summer wedding. A, I don't want to because I don't like to be hot, and B, we'd have a tiny little baby, which also isn't ideal.
yeah.
And then September is busy for weddings and the galas in September. And then October felt still a little quick. But then November, I was like, November to me it just kind of felt like that was the month. And it was early enough as you guys, like, how nice it was outside.
Right.
It was early enough that like Ryan's family and elderly people couldn't come from Dauphin because the snow thankfully wasn't here. And last November was so nice. I was kind of banking on that.
Right.
And it was actually so nice out. So that's kind of, it like was a random day, but that's kind of how there was no meaning to the day, but I just wanted something before I go back to work. And then the wind, like now it would be too dicey for weather. And then when it comes like March, April, it's dirty outside. So that's how
So you got there. So then now go through the, how do you decide venue? How do you decide size of wedding?
So
was it quick? Was it slow?
No, see, this is gonna be a short story because I was gun loaded. I was ready to go. Like I knew as soon as I got engaged, I had said for a long time it's gonna be the Dome.
Yep.
I knew that it was gonna be Stacy.
Yep.
Again, a good reason to get married in the off season if you're a wedding vendor, because then you can have all your friends that you want to work work,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to have Stacy. I knew I wanted a photo booth and a Trident to DJ, and I know I wanted film, and I know I wanted,
Yeah.
what else did I have?
Food.
I know I wanted Shady Lane because I've worked with them before, and their food is like the
Yeah,
best kind
so
of
good.
like home cooked.
And you get to sample all of these over the course of all the
like
weddings
the amount
you
of
do.
wedding food we like.
And you just like in your mind you make mental notes. It's like,
Literally,
okay,
it's like, okay, like I'm like, it's hard because like everybody that we work with, like we are friends with, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so I was like, oh, like, but Ida's does really good food, and Benny's does really good food, and but I've known Diane since I was like 16.
Right.
Through a friend of mine in high school, like they're related. So I've known her even before I was in the wedding business. So I was like, that's who I want to have. Plus she does like unreal food.
Right.
So that was easy. Like I should watch Danielle's to see how different we were. But like I said, I was like gun loaded, ready to go. As soon as I had the ring, I was like, I was like,
Bang, bang, bang.
line them up, line them up, line them up, line them up, line them up.
I had them all there already in your
Yeah.
phone. You didn't have to do
Yeah,
inquiries.
I was
You
like,
just said,
I texted Shona a picture of my ring, and I was like,
we're ready to go.
what are you doing November 2nd? Stacy, I'm like, what are you doing November 2nd?
That's awesome.
I was like, so I remember seeing all that unfold on Facebook and Instagram, and I was just like, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. It's happening.
I know. And the funny thing, I think people expected me to be an absolute psychopath because I'm a wedding planner, and I like to be organized, and I like things to go perfectly, and I like timelines and all that sort of stuff.
You
and I
can't
think
be a wedding
people-
planner without being type A. So
Right. And I think
You-
people expected me to be a bridezilla, and I wasn't.
And why do you think
clip that.
that
Yeah.
was?
And I was not.
Um,
Straight down the, and I wasn't.
but there is a different expectation when you are working a wedding where you're working for someone else.
Yeah.
Versus
It's a lot easier to plan. Like, it's more annoying to do your own wedding, to be honest.
Sure, but
To plan your own wedding is
you
worse.
also, as much as your job for years has been to get after MCs for
Right.
not making an announcement on time, get after food vendors for not getting the food on time. Like
Yeah.
that's what your job has been. That, but you also, I feel, have what we've seen over the years is understood the necessity of having a little bit of grace for the fact that every wedding doesn't go perfect.
Right.
So when you're in that space now, like, was that easy to let go, or was it like, hey, I understand already? Like, did you have someone wedding plan for you, or how did that
No,
work?
I didn't, and I think it was helpful too because I was on maternity leave. So the week prior and 2 weeks prior, everyone was like, "What can I do to help you? What can I do to help you?" And I didn't really have anything for anybody to do, mainly because I was just tinkering away on maternity leave. When he was sleeping, I would do stuff and like blah blah blah, and also because I'm a bit of a control freak. But it's easier in my brain to like plan someone else's wedding because then it's just like there's no attachment to anything.
Sure.
So if something had gone wrong at my wedding, I'm more attached to the problems. That makes
Sure.
sense. Like it would have been more emotional for me because it's my own, like I can't just switch into like, okay, we've got a problem. How do we fix it? Because now it's like Ryan's mom is there and like
Sure. So
our
if
whole
something
family is there. So I can't just like disappear and like fix a problem. I have to be like,
to be,
And
I'll be
being
like, hey,
in
can
the
you
big
do
white
this for me?
dress.
yeah, like it's
Being
kind
a
of
white
obvious
kid, you
if
can't
I'm like
disappear.
exactly. It's kind of obvious if I'm like
Gone.
disappear and I have to like. So we thankfully have really great friends in the family, and like I just kind of delegated on the day to people that I trusted to do the things I needed them to do. But
And it all came into place pretty well too.
honestly, like it was my goal of the day. I had organized like hair and makeup to be so chill. Like I had lots of people there. Like I had more than enough people there doing hair and makeup so that the day was chill.
Right.
And like not to pat myself on the back, but it was the most relaxed
100%.
wedding day, wedding
100%.
morning. Even like as of being there with a wedding planner, like it's not even like my wedding, but like I felt like mine was so relaxed, and that's exactly how I wanted it to be. I think people were surprised by that because they thought I'd be like, delegate, yeah, gotta do this, gotta do that. And I wasn't. I was just like, okay, everybody eat something. We're like done hair by like noon. We weren't getting married till 5. Like it was
Right.
Like I'm very proud of myself that it was so chill, and it was chill all day. I feel like.
Did you have any things on your day that like were big priorities amongst the planning? Like obviously you had your boxes checked in terms of vendors.
Yeah.
You had kind of your schedule for the day, but did you have some things that maybe weren't your main, I don't know, your most typical of priorities that other people would have? Like Danielle said for her, it was her getting ready spa day for her wedding party. So she had like she brought people to her house. They had a whole spa day for the girls and getting ready.
And they all were like scheduled from 10 a.m.
That was her thing. She's like, I am investing in that for my girls and I want to make sure that. And if that goes well and the wedding papers are signed, she's like, I'm happy.
Yeah.
So is there anything like that for you?
Yeah, mine was probably a little bit more high maintenance than that. Like I made sure that everyone, like the girls, had like hair and makeup and all that stuff organized. But like mine was probably more nitpicky because I've seen, like, we've been to so many weddings, we've seen so many pictures, blah blah blah. So like my main things were probably the dress code. I would have had my wedding black tie, but I wasn't allowed.
We have a question we're going to get to, but go on. Me and Joey disagree on some things. But
I wasn't allowed, so I had to go formal.
Yep.
And to me, formal is still like man in a suit, but doesn't have to be a tuxedo, like black tie.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, it's fine.
Black tie is a tuxedo. Formal is a suit or a dress shirt and dress pants, bare minimum.
That's great.
And then women in like...
Yes.
Not big gowns, but not cocktail attire, like kind of in the middle. So anyways, that was a big thing for me. And people were like, whatever, if people show up in like, I'm like, no. Not today, Junior.
Dude, I had to go buy a separate pants and black jacket just to fit in there. And I was like, okay,
it doesn't have to be black.
Well, I know I wanted to in the first place. Because I was like, the other ones didn't. The other ones didn't fit. The old ones didn't fit because I never had just a pure black one. But worked out.
Yeah. So dress code would have been a big thing for me. And then there was one guy that showed up in a t-shirt.
Okay.
And sneakers. And I was upstairs in the dome and you can see over, and I desperately wanted to be like this against the window to look down and see who it was. And anyways, we won't get into that because it'll stress me out. But for the most part, people were beautifully dressed, and I was very happy because that's the look that I wanted. Also, as people were coming in, some seats were empty, and I hate empty aisle seats.
And during the ceremony.
At every single wedding I'm at, I will either ask somebody to tell their friends to like move over, or I will ask people myself because to me, it just ruins pictures.
The aisle seats,
and that's probably just a wedding planner nitpicky thing. But like an empty aisle seat, kind of just, I don't know. If for some reason for me, it just ruins the vibes. Yep. So I had everyone in assigned seating, and there were some people that didn't show up. They were on the aisle, so I was like, move people, and I couldn't. They wouldn't let me look out the window. So it was stressing me out. But yeah, those are probably my main two things, like for ceremony purposes. Yeah. But I get those are like extreme.
How'd you arrive
nitpicky.
on the whole black and white theme? Because that was and the girls were wearing black and everything.
Black and white to me is just so clean and classic, and like will never, like you look back in 20 years, you're not gonna be like, oh, I did orange. Like why did I, or oh, I did purple, whatever color. Right. I just thought black and white was so, just so classic and simple and clean. And that's kind of how I wanted the decor. I didn't want a lot of fluff. I'm not a flower person. I don't have plant. Well, Ryan has plants, but like I don't, like I didn't want to pay for a lot of stuff on the tables. I just wanted it to be clean, simple, classic.
So that's where we arrived. Even the chairs were black and
but it was crisp. It was crispy, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it was good.
Like I just got my wedding pictures back, and like all the decor pictures are like crispy.
So cool.
Crispy.
That's
exactly.
Cake.
That's how I want. That's how I envisioned it. That's how I wanted it. They looked exactly like what I had in my mind. Chairs, like crispy.
That's good.
Yeah.
Um,
Word of the day, crispy.
Word of the day, crispy. And that was one thing that I noticed when I come in, when you walk into the venue, it was just black and white. It was pure, like it was, you could tell. And the way the ceremony was laid out too, it was all chairs of the tables, but then there was enough space down the middle for the aisle. And that stayed the entire time. Nobody had to get up and move. And all of them facing you when you walk down, not facing forward, but just sort of an angle and an angle walking down. So it was pretty.
Yeah, no, I was
good.
very that's how I wanted it. I don't, again, just because I've been to so many weddings, like I'm not a big fan of like a 2-hour break in between. So I wanted to go straight from ceremony into our reception into our dinner, and
that point right there. That seems to be the consistent across every single vendor.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard someone who gives me a really strong argument in the other way. Yeah. Like Danielle did it differently, but same. She was just like, I don't want people waiting around. I want to go from this to that. Like,
and like if Ryan had said originally, Ryan's very traditional. So originally I had figured he would say like, no, I don't want to see you till you come down the aisle. And I was going to be like, bleh. Okay. Okay. I guess we'll figure it out. But, but thankfully I was like, can we please do it like this? Because I really don't want like a break in between. I really don't want to have a ceremony and then have to have everybody leave to move chairs. And some people do it that way and it still perfectly works out perfectly well. It's just, there's a bit of extra time in the day and I just didn't want to do any of that. Like I wanted it, like I said, I wanted it as streamlined and
straightforward,
chill AF as possible.
And that's one thing that was you and Danielle that was similar, because she said, we're going to our ceremony, we're getting the ceremony done, and literally walk out of the ceremony. There's not even an aisle you have to walk out of. She walked right into her first dance, and that was a dance floor.
I like
and
that too.
It was literally that, and then called it.
Right? I contemplated like walking in for our grand entrance, going straight into our first dance, but we didn't, just because we wanted to do that.
But that's a nice
Ryan's mom. But
and that's it. But that's a good
there's
trend
so many.
too.
There's so many ways, and nothing ever is wrong when you do a wedding. It's entirely up to what you guys want.
Preference.
It's just same with Danielle. Danielle would have been to enough weddings that she would have been like, don't like that, or I don't want to do that, or that's a good idea, I'm going to do that. So it's easy. It's easier in that sense as a vendor when you know what you don't want.
Yeah. You guys both achieved the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very different weddings, but I would say the one thing, the priority was different. And I don't want to say that this wasn't a priority for you, but Danielle consistently said she was more worried about her guests
having a good time
than she was about herself.
Yeah.
Not that you were like being selfish or anything like that, but I feel just from this conversation, you had a little bit more of a vision for the way you wanted to see it.
To be,
versus she's just like, I don't really care. Like as long as like she was walking around her whole wedding, like, did you have a good time? Did you have a good time? She was like not even concerned if she was having a good time or not. Where I
wanted, like, I would agree with that. Like I wanted, like, that's why I was very happy that Jared was our DJ, because he kills it every time. So I wanted, and I'm a dancer, so I wanted people to dance. I wowould have been disappointed if people weren't on the dance floor, but they were. Yeah. But overall, I just had a vision of how I wanted it to look. And I knew people would have a good time because that's that
too. Yep. Right.
Like I didn't have any doubt that people would have a good time. So I wasn't super like, are you having a good time? Right. I knew Jared would kill it and that we'd have a photo booth, and people love a photo booth. So I was kind of, my brain kind of was going for the look overall rather than like, I just knew people would have a good time. I wasn't too worried about it.
Would you?
And if they didn't, then like, again, I'm not worried about
that
it.
guy in the t-shirt had a bad time though. That guy in the t-shirt had a rough go. Yeah, it's not invited back. Would you do anything differently?
Ooh, that's a good question. Probably no, I don't think so. Like, no, I wouldn't. I even surprised myself by how how chill it was all day. Like there was nothing. I don't think we should have done anything earlier. I don't think we should have done anything later. I don't have any regrets in any like choices I made. Yeah. No, I would say no.
And that's the best part.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, because we walk after the day is said and done and you sit back and look at it and go, everything I wanted to happen, and that's great.
Yeah.
We're good. Yeah.
Oh, I maybe would have ordered more dessert because some people didn't get dessert.
Oh, right.
I don't think I ordered enough dessert.
Shangela.
Yeah, it was, and I didn't get anything except for I only got I literally took our cake from the table and I was like, okay, since the dessert's all gone, I'm taking this cake to my table because I didn't want people to eat my cake.
Yeah.
The cake was unreal, and I heard that the other desserts were unreal, but I just think I underestimated how much dessert people would eat, and so I should have got more. But yeah, besides that, I think that's literally the only thing I'm like, ooh, I should have got more dessert. But
so overall. But wait, this question. Ryan's suit jacket.
yes,
Who picked it?
me.
Of course.
I wanted him, obviously, me being the bride. I wanted him to wear a white jacket, and he said, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And so then I said, okay, well, can we go like a textured jacket then? Because I don't want you just to be in a plain black tux because your groomsmen are going to be in plain black tuxes. I want you to stand out a little bit.
Flair. Give him that flair.
And so then we rented from Moore's and we had zero trouble. People were making me worried because they had unfortunately had issues. And I was like, the week before I was like, oh, fuck, okay.
No issues.
Zero issues,
Awesome.
Literally zero issues. And so then I saw that they had this texture jacket, and because we were doing black and white, I was like, well, this will go. Like, it's gray and black. And it looked, like I said, we just got our wedding pictures back, and it looks like so good.
Just in the little bits of seeing it, just pops.
Again,
Pops against the
yeah.
other. Yes.
Just-
Yes, crispy.
Yeah, like the
Crispy
guys
Ryan.
in,
We're gonna call him
the
Crispy
guy-
Ryan.
Crispy
yeah.
Ryan.
The guys in the black tuxes, and then we got them ties that have like little pops of white on them, so it just works. Like it just all. Again, I'm like
It's aesthetic.
I'm gonna look back and I'm gonna like the aesthetic more than anything else because that's what I wanted,
Yeah.
and that's how it looked, and I'm proud of myself.
Should be. You
For
should
doing
be.
that, and that's
it's
now
hard
I can
trying
look
to-
back in 10 years and be like, oh God, we look good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like, oh, those
100%.
tables look so good.
Yeah.
Like, that's
it's
what I'm
hard
gonna do.
to take something that's in your head, put it on paper, and then make it just come to life. Exactly.
Yes.
And that's and it's
Yes.
hard. And because you got to match colors, you got to match people, and you got to
Right.
envision them in this and trying to make sure it all works.
And
together.
sometimes it doesn't. Like originally I had wanted like baby's breath runners on the table.
Yeah.
But like your girl's on maternity leave and that's expensive. That was more expensive than I thought. So we switched gears and we changed to those bud vases and the candles and
They look great.
I'm honestly happier now that I did that. And that like I like that better now than I did what I thought I was going to like the baby's breath. But yeah, no, sometimes you got to make sacrifices. We figured out the price of that and I was like, okay, well, that's not in our budget. So we're going to scrap that and do something else. And I ended up liking what we did better. And in pictures, it just, again, it's so like clean and elegant and exactly what I was going for.
And since you talk about budget, I want to come back to it in a second. But we also had like first names of people in little wood things on each of the
Yeah, so
things.
sometimes the budget, sometimes things are more important. Like those to me, like that was just a little finishing touch, and people probably would be like, "Why did you?" Like even my dad was like, "That's a bit excessive," and I was like, "Yeah, don't worry about it, Dad. Don't worry about it, Paul."
Yeah, just Paul. But give me a credit card while you're at it.
Yeah, no. I was like, "Don't worry about it, Paul."
Yes.
But to me, those little things to me, like that would make me happy at wedding to see my name and I would take it home. Some people didn't take it home.
We took it home. Me and Sylvia took it home. It's on our right next to our couch table.
Yeah, like
counter,
Archie's
right,
Archie's is on his little shelf in his room. Like that to me, like if I go to a wedding, that would be like, oh, cool.
Because
So
those are
that's what I
little
want to
things.
do.
I legitimately feel those are little things people put effort into of thinking about the guests.
Yes.
And that is for you to appreciate it, and take that with you.
Right.
Like, and as simple as sometimes when people leave disposable cameras and vintage cameras, Polaroids for them to take the photo. Like it's not that hard. Take the photo, stick it on the guest book. Like little things matter to the couple more when they do what they are intended to do.
Yeah, like I was more annoyed that people left those and like the fact that some people didn't get dessert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I spray painted those with my whole heart, and some of them were broken. I'm like, how did you even break this? Like you would have had to snap it.
The first thing I did when I came to her spot, I was like, I took that and it was like, so let me put it in your bag. It's like, I took mine and put it in my bag. She's like,
no,
where's
there was
mine?
like a stack.
She
There was
took
like a
hers and put it
stack
in
left
the
over,
bag.
and I was like, some people were inebriated,
just took a
which is
bunch of
fine.
We know exactly who left theirs.
Yeah, which is fine. And I did because their names were.
Ronnie just started taking a bunch of people.
Yeah.
He's got a stack.
And
This is
If I ever need a
Dave.
Jessica.
Yeah, Dave, Jessica,
Yeah, but, like, those
Diane.
things-
What? Why is that?
Those things, like you also have to take that with a grain of salt because those things are more important to you than they were to somebody
Yes,
else, right?
sure.
So like they would have just forgot that it was there or not realized they were supposed to take it home or whatever the case was. But yeah, those little things those things were like important to me. But then like again to
But those are little things.
my dad,
that,
he'd be like, "What's the point in that?"
right? But no, I can look at that 2 years from now and still
Yeah.
know that was on my table at Laurie's wedding.
Yeah,
Right.
End of story.
Right, which
Right?
I
That's
appreciate, but not
so
everyone
cool,
thinks
right?
like us,
And it's
and I have to
different.
be good fine
Not
with
everybody.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
But talking about budget, so once you again get engaged and you realize, okay,
Yeah.
we got to book stuff. And did you guys come up with, okay, this is what we got to stay under, or do you, as you're going, okay, can we flex this a little bit, or can we flex that a bit? How does that process turn out?
We didn't really have a set number. And like again, because we're in the wedding industry, we kind of know what a good price for stuff is and what isn't, right? Like I knew that baby's breath was like expensive, so I was like, yeah, no. And like, yeah, there's chairs that are more expensive than other chairs, and there's this that's more expensive than this, and so like you do have to make sacrifices here or there. We were lucky enough that my parents had set aside money for both of us, and like just whenever we get married, here's your lump sum, do what you want. So we were very lucky that we had that. And then, I had money set aside because I was on maternity leave. I had been putting money aside from weddings anyways, knowing that I was on maternity leave, and then ended up that came in helpful. And we just kind of went as we went, and then I was like, ooh, that seems expensive. So then we just did something else. Or, oh, that's like, well, we can't do that. It's just too costly.
And do you think is that more reasonable or realistic for more people than just go, okay, here's our set number, we're gonna have to stay under it? Or do you think people they can flex it as they go planning their day?
I think it's fully dependent on the person. Like if you're a person that's like got a wedding account, say, like I know that there's people that since they were like 18, they've been putting money into a wedding account, and that's all the money they have to spend. Right. So like if you're that person, then that's your like you've got 25 grand put aside. That's you can't no flexing. That's your budget. If it's not in there, it's not happening. And then I think it honestly just depends. Right. Like ours worked out that we didn't really have a set number, but I just knew kind of what we wanted, and if it was unattainable, then it was unattainable.
Right. So while they're planning this, what part of cost or price when you got back and you go, holy shit, this is not what I expected it to be, but it is expensive. What was that? Any specific thing or a bunch of things and we're like, oh, it was way over what you imagined it to be price-wise?
There was no surprises because I just kind of know, like all year I'm like, hey, Ronnie, what does this cost? So I've got a person interested, or hey, so-and-so, like, what does this cost? You kind of keep up with the costs as unfortunately they keep rising as the world keeps rising. But so there was nothing that really surprised me except for like florals. And luckily I didn't have
crazy amount of that.
I didn't have like any attachment to that. So I was easily like, hey, never mind.
And
next option.
we partially asked this question too, and I think we're for the large amount of viewers and listeners we have.
How many listeners do we have?
We have about
Is it
a
more
solid.
than
What?
Is it more than a Talk Curry to me? All 26 of them?
I don't know.
I think we're at 72 or something.
Way!
So,
That's what you guys
that's not bad
do.
enough.
So the reason, so a lot of people, rightfully so, are dictated by their budget, and I'm always telling people when I'm doing kind of sales calls or I'm talking to people about matters, like you really have to only listen to money at certain points. What you really need to listen to is experience. And it's easier for us to say because we've been at a lot of events, but like you can, tell me this is wrong or add on to it or whatever. But to people who are getting married or who aren't getting married, pay attention at the events that you're at. Because that is going to be more important to you when you're making the decisions on what you want on your wedding. Because you're going to say, hey, at Jack and Jill's wedding, wow, that was a brutal name example. I'm really disappointed.
Jack and Jill.
I was going to say Jack and Diane. I'm sorry, I apologize to everybody. Jack and Jill.
It's good. It's classic.
Their wedding.
Classic romance couple.
How exactly? So
Well,
romantic.
might as well just go Juliet and Romeo.
Romeo and Juliet's wedding. Oh, I'm sorry. That hurt myself. I'm more clever than that. But you went to their wedding and you're like, wow, they had a great DJ. Make note of that. They had great food. Make note of that. And you didn't know you might have a little bit of a when it comes to price because they might have just so happened to pick the most expensive caterer in the land. But and then you can still price check around. But just those are going to be more worth it to you every time. Every time. Unfortunately, maybe people aren't going to a million weddings, so they don't always have that, knowledge or expertise. But if you do do those things, or ask us, ask people around. Like maybe if you're set on, hey, I know that we want Trident for our DJ, ask us. Be like, hey, so who have you seen for good caterers? Like, we're not gonna BS you. We're gonna tell you who's good.
I can't imagine if you haven't been to a lot of weddings in your life and you get engaged and you start planning a wedding, how much of a shock that would be, because it is expensive and it's getting more and more expensive every year because that's just the way the world is going. But can you imagine the sticker shock if you didn't, you reached out to someone, they're like, oh yeah, it's $5,000 for a DJ or whatever the price.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
$5,000, but it's a little much.
That's
not
excessive, but you know what I mean? Sticker shock. But I'm like, I can't imagine being
for sure.
Completely unaware of how costly things are and starting. For people that have a little awareness, like you said, if you go to a wedding, you like that DJ, ask them who their DJ was. If you go to a wedding and you like the flowers they have, ask them where they got their flowers.
Yeah. Here's a pro tip. If you are in a committed relationship or you're not engaged yet, every wedding you get invited to is a training ground and a practice ground of know what you want and what you don't want.
Yes.
Make note of everything from the
if you
food
like
to
how
decor
they got introduced,
to the
write it down.
environment to
Everything.
Everything is a good testing ground for you to feel, okay, is this what I want? Is this not what I want?
Yeah.
So again, that's
also,
a pro tip.
That is a good tip. And you also, even if it's down to how they get introduced, you like the way they did it, you like their order they came in, even if it's the things that don't cost any money, write it down. I've been to weddings and I'm like, oh, I loved how they got introduced. And I love that they introduced their bridal party. So that's what we did.
Exactly. Those things matter. Yeah.
You also need to prioritize what's important to you. So for example, if you guys are big foodies as a couple, then that's where you should allocate your budget to. If you want an amazing meal, then you're going to have to spend more money on it. If you are dancers or you are big music people, then you're going to have to source out the DJ and you're going to have to,
whatever.
You're going to have to kind of throw money into the thing that's most important to you.
Yeah.
Because that will then get you the wedding that you want.
At the end of this, we're going to do it briefly because I don't think we want to do a whole nother episode about it.
I don't want to do a whole nother episode.
We're going to do a brief version of overrated, underrated.
You could just go fast round.
Fast round of this. I'm not sure if we'll get all 10, but there's a couple in our head, so we want to do, So we'll start.
Bouquet toss.
We'll use bouquet toss as the example. So a bouquet toss at a wedding, is that overrated? It is overrated. Okay.
Yeah, I'll get through all 10. I'm quick.
And I had no doubt.
Garter toss.
And if you have something important to say or descriptive of that, please do. Okay, garter toss.
Overrated.
Okay.
Why? I don't know. I don't know how other people function, but especially in the summertime, you got a big dress on. Your thighs are going to be sweaty. Why do you want your new groom up there digging around? You don't.
Digging around.
It's a process.
Digging around. That's his her words.
Flower girls, ring bearers.
Can I be in the middle?
You can have one or two.
You can be properly rated.
I would say properly. It's depending on the couple. If you have people that are special to you, go for it. If you don't, you don't need them.
Okay. Champagne tower.
Again, if you're those people, go to town because it's pretty. But if I didn't have one at mine and I didn't miss it.
Okay. All right. Cake.
Cutting the cake.
Underrated. Love me some cake.
Any notes on cake for people? Do you
What
suggest
kind of cake this
What
should
kind
get?
of cake do you want? Should you invest big on the cake?
I like chocolate, so we got chocolate cake.
I'm not worried about flavor. We can talk cake flavors all day, but I'm talking about like
You can
investment
talk
in
about
the
ice
cake.
cream cake too.
Oh, don't. We got like a small 6-inch like top tier, and that was all you need because that lasted us like a good couple weeks, and I even gave my mom like almost half of it. So,
Do you think the cake should be the actual dessert for the wedding?
no,
Mm.
no.
Okay, I like it. I
Like
like it.
only cake dessert at wedding, I would say.
That's why people list out on
overrated.
dessert because they were. She wouldn't give out any of her cake.
Yeah, I know. I would say cake only is overrated. Like a little bit of cake for you guys, and then like other desserts.
Yeah.
Underrated. Like mix it up.
Outdoor weddings.
Huh. Overrated.
Oh.
I hate being outside.
So this is coming personally, like personal preference
Yeah.
for sure.
This is very like don't take any of this to heart. Like this personal preference. Outside weddings are beautiful if that's your thing. Again, you could not pay me to get married outside.
Okay, but from a wedding planner perspective, outdoor weddings, yes or no?
As a vendor that works at weddings, overrated.
Okay, there you go. Good to know.
I hate being outside.
She's asking. She's taking
I-
clients. You're outdoor wedding. Yeah, I'm busy all of a
Oh,
sudden that weekend. It's crazy.
Don't get me wrong; those are my bread and butter, and I will do them until the cows come home. But
Yeah.
will I get heat stroke? Absolutely, because I am sensitive to the sun.
Yeah.
For my own health, overrated.
Overrated. Got it. Live band.
Oh, underrated.
Yes,
I wish more
yes.
people did that.
Agree.
Ooh,
100%.
I'm more of a DJ person, but I think that like there's certainly some good bands in town that if people ask me, I would have good recommendations, and I wish more people did that.
Never upset about a band. Like
Band.
that's the thing.
Band
Like,
is a great
There are
answer.
some people. She's exactly right saying. Some
Yeah.
people are DJ people.
Yeah.
That's great. But like, no matter what, no one's disappointed about
the
band.
energy
No,
a band brings is
Yeah, no, I
unparalleled.
think like people, especially if you're music people, I would get a band over a DJ. I just knew that I wanted like 90s, 2000s tunes, and I wasn't going to ask a band to like learn all new songs.
Yeah.
So I'm a DJ person. Yeah. So
Sorry, I don't want a bunch
the
of
amount of
40-year-old
people
men.
that was on the dance floor to S Club 7.
I know you had been
that
happy
was a
about that.
dream.
Ask. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Open bar.
I'm gonna say, what is it? Perfectly rated.
Properly rated.
Properly rated. We had a cash bar because we didn't have like our friends and family aren't big drinking crowds. So it wasn't feasible for us to buy a whole bunch of liquor for it to sit there and not get drank and us to return it and all that sort of stuff. So, but if you have a big drinking crowd, open bar is the way to go. So it's all dependent.
He said overrated. So
so.
this is just me and Joey going through our list. I was like, what do we
That's
choose?
okay. It can't like again to me like personally I would say open bar is overrated, but that's from my perspective, my friends and my family. Like my brother, for example, had an open bar and it was perfect because they're a sports crowd. They're volleyball, they're rugby, they're drinkers. Like that's what they did.
Changing last names.
Underrated.
Yeah.
I am traditional in that sense. I want the same last name as my kid. That was always a deal breaker. I said to Ryan, I was like, if we decide to have a baby, you're gonna have to put a ring on it eventually because I want the same last name as my kid. And that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah,
There you go.
that's good.
So you're not necessarily, like or just pissed off about the whole bunch of things you got to change and
No, I mean it's annoying. Don't get me wrong, but I want to grow up with the same last name as my child because he has Ryan's last name.
and child is child.
Childs, yes. I didn't want. And again, it's personal preference. Some people keep their name for business reasons. Some people keep their name for other like family reasons, heartfelt reasons, religious reasons, whatever.
No.
Like, but
That's
to
on
me, I want the same last name as my kid.
All right. Last part. Wedding guest attire.
Like, and what do you mean?
Like how important is guest attire
Lawrie,
to your wedding?
your answer's
Like,
underrated.
Number one.
Yeah.
To me, like I said, I was going for an overall look. And I had it in my brain, and I wanted, again, I would have done black tie if I was allowed.
So you help us be the mediator here. So me and Joey have this thing.
Can't wait.
About this attire thing. I think if you're invited to a wedding and the groomsmen are wearing suit jackets, right? As a guest, you need to match up at least to that level. a jacket, shirt, and pants. Okay?
Okay.
Regardless of weather, regardless of where, regardless of when. That has to be the bare minimum.
Okay.
Go ahead.
My stance is, one, how are you going to know that? Are you going to be like, hey, what are the groomsmen wearing? No one does that. You can, I guess, ask, but that's silly. I think that the bare minimum should be like a collar, like a collared shirt, like a long sleeve dress shirt. The big thing, I think all those things, it doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter when, doesn't matter who. I think it does matter. I think it does matter if it's a 30-degree wedding in summer. Like, and everybody's going to be taking their suit jackets off anyway.
Right.
Why are you going to demand that your guests wear a suit jacket? He's like, you're a man. You should have a suit jacket at a wedding.
I said, at least for the ceremony, you have to have a jacket on.
What is the point, Ronnie? If it is 40 degrees outside and you're like, you got to bring
Relax, guys,
you have to go out and get a suit that you probably don't own and wear it only for 20 minutes, because that's as long as a ceremony can be outside in summer.
Okay. It's okay. My goodness.
Thank you. This is good. Thank you.
My God. Okay, so it's just so upset. Like trauma. Okay. I honestly, if I probably would lean more towards agreeing with Joey, but my thing is you're not, I agree. You're not going to know when you rock up if the guys are in jackets or not. So that's not a thing. And like, I don't want 150 people text me and be like, hey, your girls are wearing jackets. I think that if it says summer formal, or if it says summer casual, or if it says summer garden party or summer cocktail, and there's any sort of guidance on be respectful of that. Don't show up in jeans. Yeah. Nobody. Okay, here's a PSA.
Yes.
Can I look into the camera?
Yes, hot take.
Hot take. You got a hot take.
Yes.
Serious.
Welcome to my TED Talk. Hot take. If you're invited to a wedding, don't wear jeans. Whether like just in general, just don't do it. Don't wear flip-flops.
Or Lawrie will find you.
Don't wear sneakers.
We'll take you out.
Don't wear cut-off t-shirts.
Madam
Don't wear
Childs.
wife beaters.
Madam Child's gonna come after you in
There's
your flip-flops.
there's a bare minimum. If you're invited to a wedding, people are paying a lot of money for you to be there, enjoy it, eat.
Preach.
Just put on even if it's a polo shirt and shorts, if it's casual, if it's 30 degrees and you want to wear dress shorts and a nice pair of like dress sneakers, go to town. Don't show up in cargo shorts and a Van Halen t-shirt and dirty sneakers and expect me to not look at you like this.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Drop the mic. Drop the mic.
And all that to be said, I think what we can put a bow on this debate that we've been having for 3 episodes now, is that you, as people getting married, you are allowed to put on your invitations.
Respect the dress code. That's all you
Respect
that's
the dress
all,
code.
all it is.
And
You
just
don't
say,
have to,
summer casual. If you want summer casual and that's what you expect, summer
Yeah.
casual, summer formal, black tie, whatever, just put it there. Don't feel bad about doing that.
No.
Right?
And if you know for a fact that the groomsmen, and we see this a lot because we live in the country, if the groomsmen are in jeans and cowboy boots and a dress shirt and a vest, that, again, if you know that's what they're wearing, that's your bare minimum. If it's a farm wedding and you guys are cowboys, shine up your boots, get your best jeans, and put a dress shirt on.
Your boots.
And the cowboy hat.
Yeah, like
your hair
and the
down.
bow.
like don't show up to a summer wedding at a nice venue. Sorry.
She leaned forward for a TED Talk.
Don't show up to a summer wedding at what you know is a nice venue.
Yeah.
In a cutoff t-shirt and jeans and flip-flops that are falling apart. Like, just be respectful of the dress code. Be respectful that you're at a wedding. Weddings are like a formal occasion traditionally.
Yes.
Like dating back to God knows when.
Yeah.
It's a formal occasion. So respect the bride and groom and their dress code. And if they tell you to come in shorts and a t-shirt, then I guess you're allowed to come in shorts and a t-shirt. But I would advise against it.
So there you go. So that's how we will end this episode, ladies and gentlemen.
Now you got me all heated.
Lawrie Childs.
I thank you for calming me down. That was good.
Yeah.
Could have gotten crazy.
I thought that was a good insight. It's always cool to have a wedding vendor's perspective on their own wedding when they're planning their own wedding, and it is pretty cool. And that's why, again, with Danielle too, wanted the same thing, and you being a wedding planner wanted to see the same thing.
Right.
So I think we got good insights. We'll close it. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, For the Record Podcast.
All the things.
Comment and rate on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Apparently, that's a good thing. Will
Rate.
help us a little bit. So,
Like rate this episode.
Yeah, you
Rate.
should, well, no, just
Rate
specifically
the-
your
rate
guests.
10.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, not actually a stars. Don't ever give us stars. Just actually just give us a
10 out of 10
would watch
again.
Yeah, 10. Yeah. Before we go, Joey's unique way of saying coffee. I heard this last week. This is incredible. I was like so pumped. This guy, it was like a divine intervention that someone put this man in front of me, and I heard him ask for a cup of horsepower.
What?
He wanted a cup of horsepower.
Like that's how he's asking.
That's for his coffee.
Oh my god.
He's at a restaurant. He asked the server for
That's
some
amazing.
horsepower.
That's
Hell
amazing.
yeah. That'll keep a man going. Give him his mug of horsepower. We'll see you next time. Ka-chow.
That's